Football League video, one in a series that features Race for the Championship. 60 minutes of non-stop action, captured in the only official video of the pursuit of the Football League trophy. The official and exclusive Football League video of your club's season in Division 1 relives all the games, home and away, all the goals for and against, a collectible must for every supporter. Revel in the First Division's most breathtaking goals in goals galore, and the greatest goalkeepers in action in saves galore. A brilliant 1-2 from the Football League. Welcome to the official Football League video of Manchester United's season 1990-1991. The holders of the FA Cup, they aim to go one better and secure the prize all their followers want, the First Division Championship. You'll see all the goals from all the games as the Red Devils aim to repeat their title success last achieved back in 1967. After that cup win, it was an eagerly awaited season at Old Trafford, a season in which European action was to return in such dramatic fashion. Captain Brian Robson had returned early from the World Cup with an Achilles tendon injury requiring surgery. He would still take several months to recover. Les Sealey sensationally had taken the goalkeeping jersey in the FA Cup final replay while on loan. Not surprisingly, he made the full-time move to Old Trafford during the summer. And Dennis Irwin joined United from Oldham in a £700,000 move, Irwin a fullback on the fringes of the Irish national team. So the first-team squad looked like this at the outset: Sealey, Jim Leighton and Gary Walsh, the goalkeepers, Walsh slowly getting back to full fitness. Steve Bruce and last season's Player of the Year, Gary Pallister, would anchor the centre of defence. And plenty of experience in midfield: Neil Webb, Paul Ince, Michael Phelan and Brian Robson when fit again, providing one of the strongest squads in the division. And depth up front too, with Mark Hughes and Brian McClare, alongside Danny Wallace and the promising youngsters Mark Robbins and Lee Sharp. Alec Ferguson in charge since November 1986, hoping that injuries wouldn't ruin his plans as they have done in preceding years. The FA Cup on parade as the season starts at Old Trafford with the visit of Coventry City.
It was new boy Dennis Irwin who helped break the deadlock on the hour when he swung over a corner and defender Steve Bruce delivered a bullet header to put Alex Ferguson's team in front. Coventry didn't really threaten the home goal and the 3 points never looked in doubt. Just to make sure though, Neil Webb demonstrated his ability to get forward and score when he dived in to get on the end of another cross from the effective Irwin.
So a great start before 46,000, but the following Tuesday, a trip along the M62 and a 0-0 draw against newly promoted Leeds United. The following Saturday, Manchester United were away again at another of the newly promoted clubs, Sunderland.
Sunderland dominated the early play and took the lead. Following Gordon Armstrong's mazy dribble, Gary Owers caught United flat-footed. It was no more than they deserved, and they held their more illustrious and expensive rivals at bay until the 70th minute, when Brian McClare's header from Beardsmoor's nod back was right on target to equalise for United. With less than a minute to go, a draw looked an absolute certainty, until a superb piece of individual skill from Gary Bennett, the Sunderland captain, consigned United to their first defeat, and joy on Wearside was unconfined.
First for good. United's first away win of the season when Mark Robins, keeping out Welsh international Mark Hughes, scored the winner. And then the bad news. United skipper Steve Bruce became the first to go under the new FIFA ruling that instructs referees to send off a player who brings down an opponent in a goal-scoring position, a so-called professional foul. So United down to 10 men for the last 20 minutes, but they held on to their lead. The final result, Luton 0, United 1. Just a few minutes gone. Gary Pallister nods it on. Brian McClair feeds on the scraps. Mark Robins finally earned his chance in midweek when he replaced Mark Hughes and scored the winner against Luton. And there's no doubt he possesses the striker's nose for goal. Lovely pass from Neil Webb and an excellent finish from Robins. United up by 2. The last thing Rangers really needed was to be left with 10 men. And that's exactly what happened after Mark Falco received his marching orders for a needless elbow on Gary Pallister. The red card for Mark Falco. But now another magnificent goal from Robins. Super touch from McClair. And look at this beautifully flighted chip. Rangers almost down and out. Robins more than justifying Alec Ferguson's faith in him. A wonderful finish that, his third goal in 5 days. Rangers get a late consolation. And there's a rather unnecessary handball from Steve Bruce. Just there, a certain penalty. And Roy Wegerle, who scored all Rangers goals this season, obliges from the spot. But that's another excellent performance from fast improving Manchester United.
Barnes to McMahon. John Barnes again. Lovely ball played there towards McMahon, played in there! Beardsley! Onto it. It was almost in danger of being an own goal there by Steve Bruce. That's the killer ball. And then McMahon adding to it. Bruce in trouble. Seeley could only half stop it, and Beardsley finished it off. And Liverpool are ahead by a goal to 0. McClair. Towards Webb.
Oh yes. Oh.
Off the crossbar. What an escape there for Liverpool. That silenced the top for a moment as Webb stole in. And it was so close to the equalising goal. Barnes. Delightful ball again by Barnes. McMahon in for Beardsley! That makes it 2. Barnes and McMahon heavily involved again. And Beardsley where he had to be when it really mattered. McMahon's run once again, and Beardsley side-putting it past Seeley. That's two for Liverpool.
Yeah, it's about timing, this one, because I would have swore blind from my very high position if Peter Beardsley would have been offside, but the timing of the run was perfect, and Neil Webb, of all people, played him onside. It's a fascinating game, isn't it?
Yes, you're right, Larry. For about 20 minutes there before half-time, you couldn't have wished to have seen better football anywhere.
And they're starting to turn it on again now. Rush to Barnes. Back goes Phelan. In goes Beardsley, but Ince got the better of him. But here's Houghton. Great stuff by Liverpool here. It might come for Barnes. It is! It's number 3.
Well, fortune favours the brave, because the first shot by Stevie Nicol could have gone anywhere, quite honestly. This is sheer persistence. Had a little look up, swung his big boot, and up gets John Barnes, proving that he can do everything, John. Good header, planted right in the corner. Well, how can a team be 3 down after contributing so much to such an attractive first half?
The Cop are absolutely beside themselves with joy now. 3 up against Manchester United.
Whelan doing well there. McMahon slipping it forward to Beardsley.
Tried to get Rush going again. A free kick very quickly taken there, but Beardsley's onside. United racing towards the linesman. They thought Beardsley was offside, but the flag stayed down. Beardsley went on, and he's got a hat-trick.
A defeat by Liverpool which looked worse on paper than it did on the pitch. But a mixed start overall, with 3 wins from 6 games, but 6th in the table. The European adventure started the following week with the home leg against Pécsi Munkacs from Hungary. A great opening goal from Clayton Blackmore, followed by Neil Webb's effort 6 minutes later. The United could have built more than a 2-goal lead. But there were no real problems in the second leg, and Brian McClare's second half goal sealed a 3-0 aggregate win. The Rumbelows League Cup got underway at Halifax, and in a hard-fought game, it wasn't until the last 3 minutes that United gained their victory. The return leg wasn't easy either. Sandwiched between those cup games, league matches, firstly against Southampton.
Despite reports of disharmony in the dressing room, United took the lead after 19 minutes. A corner from Dennis Irwin, United's 5th so far. Fatal hesitation from Southampton keeper Tim Flowers. Brian McClare, the header home. Southampton pulled one back on the half hour. Quickly taken free kick, and Paul Rideout prospered from Barry Horn's neat cross. United won the match in a 2-minute spell early in the second half. Neil Webb's chip, Clayton Blackmore on the end of it. His header passed in front of Flowers' body. And a superb United move here that would have delighted manager Alec Ferguson. Mark Hughes in the clear, round the unfortunate Flowers, and Mark Hughes, his first goal of the season. Rod Wallace is getting a lot of goals for the Saints this season, and there's reward for their late pressure. But United hung on for a win to maintain their challenge at the top.
Free kick to Forest, and Les Sealey will wonder here. I can remember in the past when Sealey was with Luton that Nigel Clough, the number 9, put a long-distance free kick beyond the goalkeeper, and Stuart Pearce, who's coming at it from the other side, possesses a fearsome strike. Like that! A fantastic free kick for Nottingham Forest, and Pearce has done it again. With 7 minutes gone, and Sealey on his 33rd birthday hardly saw it. It had power, it had curve, It had everything. Leclerc. Beardsmore, another early ball in, over Hughes and met on the stretch. Leclerc, but he didn't get the final touch because it's a corner. It was Brian Laws who put it over his own crossbar. And it's Clough who does it! Oh, and Seeley with a save that leaves both Cloughs in disbelief. Nigel Clough has beaten Les Seeley before when Seeley was Luton's goalkeeper, and Seeley recognised the area where the ball would come, but even so, it was a perfectly executed free kick.
"15 minutes gone, and Manchester United's corner. Pallister going towards the near post. Bruce coming in behind him. Oh, and Leclerc was just trying to apply a final touch, and anything gentler than that must surely have gone in. It was particularly well met by Bruce in the first place, but I don't think it would have beaten Seaman. And Leclerc looking to make sure that United would score, and only diverted it wide. A couple of minutes to go to half-time. And Limpar made a long run to get himself involved, and Keith Hackett has given the goal. Arsenal have stolen a goal here, and the player that they're calling their new match winner, well, he hasn't won the game here, but he's caught out Seeley. And after spending more than 40 minutes on defending against the purposeful Manchester United, Arsenal have taken the lead. Anders Limpar whipped it in, and Keith Hackett said it was over the line. Les Seeley was concentrating on trying to keep it out, but you can't argue with the referee's right in that position to make the award.
Not since 1978 have City finished above United in the First Division table. They take a 3-point advantage into this game, though, and strictly speaking, United would have to win by 2 clear goals in order to catch them up. But I think they'd settle for 1 and blow the goal difference. Victory is all that matters on Derby Day. Harper has found Quinn. Pallister did well then. Got a corner kick to defend against. They're just about a fair match, Pallister and Quinn, aren't they? Way by Webb, only as far as Reed! Good save! Came through a crowd. And Les Seeley just able to deny Peter Reed. Now, how much of that did the goalkeeper see? Precious little, I suspect. Webb's header that fell for Reed, and Seeley just got down. White's header, dangerous. Heat trying to get there. Good defending by Steve Bruce. Throw into Manchester City. Harper wanted to take it quickly. Third time lucky to Reed. Ward. Quinn. So there's still a chance for Quinn, chance for White, 1-0. David White gives Manchester City the lead. Minutes gone, and first blood to the Blues. The early cross by Mark Ward caused confusion in the United goalmouth, which they never quite sorted out. It bounced off in for Quinn and then for White. It was number 11, Mark Ward, who's quick thinking here, unhinged United, and they never quite settled down again. And White just hooked it in. Only his second goal of the season. But it could Whitmore. All the way to Ward. Poynton. Brendan Pallister again, and again Pallister the winner. He's shading that contest. United haven't settled into any sort of passing rhythm in the middle of the field as yet. This knows it's difficult on these occasions. The City have just passed it a little better. They've never been frightened just to hoist it forward towards Quinn or White up there. Hendry. White first to it. Owen in. Poynton. On towards Ward. Redmond. Heath. Lovely flick. David White with another great chance. Oh, I say, what a fabulous goal. 2 goals in 5 minutes for David White and for Manchester City. If the first was a little bit messy, the second was majestic. Adrian Heath with a delightful flick. White clearly onside, and what a sure-footed finish. Heath just sent David White on his way, and there was only one place it was ever going to finish up. Bingo. White was on the charge again then. Steve Bruce in the way. Webb tripped. He was at number 3-1 then. Altogether happy with his current form, the Manchester United skipper. It may be coincidence, but he feels that it's taken a bit of a nosedive since he got that black armband. He's playing in quite a forward role in midfield today. United needs somebody to get up in support of Hughes. They've got plenty up for the free kick. Hughes! Just when you need something from him most, Mark Hughes comes up with it. It's come a little earlier in the day than it did in last year's derby. Manchester United are back in business. What a great jump. He was up so long. Well, Dennis Law used to hang in that red number 10 shirt, but no better than that. That's a great goal by Mark Hughes. It's only his second of the season. It's half the deficit. Next and clear. Heath down the line. Even his long legs weren't quite taken there ahead of Owen. Sharp. Taking on Harper. Great play. Ward's back there. Chance for Neil Webb. Mixon. And suddenly it's Manchester City's turn to look at each other in defence and try to sort it out. United are on a roll in this match. Irwin's corner. Headed by Webb. Pallister's header snatched by Coton. Couldn't quite get the leverage behind it that he needed to defeat the Manchester City goalkeeper. And look at the men United had over beyond the far post, 2 of them. And it wasn't a bad chance for Pallister. Quinn got the flick, but David White will be hard pushed to do anything with it. Corner kick. Came off Quinn and then Pallister. I think he's a little surprised. Adrian Heath with Peter Reid available short. Neil Poynton. Hendry's header. David White. Oh, denied a hat-trick by the crossbar. Alan Harper. Way by Webb. Hit Bruce. Peter Reid. Well, he's frustrated, but how does David White feel? 2 goals in 5 minutes in the first half, and that one could have killed the game. It was a great chance. Crossbar the villain. Paul Ince. Lee Martin. Harper's outstretched leg. Hendry still forward. Now, never quite sure what he's going to do next. Quinn, Hendry going on, a moment of glory. Isn't it just? Flying high, Colin Hendry makes it 3-1 for Manchester City. And that may just be enough. 12 minutes remaining. And Colin Hendry chanced his arm. And his luck was in. Measured return ball from Quinn. And a flourish of a finish from Hendry. That's a centre-forward's finish. Peter Reid replaced by Ian Brightwell. Oh, what a contribution he's made to. Steve Redmond. Ian Brightwell. Lost out to McClair. Chance here for Brian McClair. They're closing in, but McClair is good enough. And with 9 minutes left to go, Manchester United have hope again. Brian McClair after the mistake by Ian Brightwell, who chased back as 4 of the teammates did, but McClair kept his cool. He could hear the hooves pounding behind him, McClair, but he was strong enough there and cool enough there. Brian McClair's 7th goal of the season, United's leading goal scorer, 3-2. Danny Wallace is going to come on for United and replace Lee Sharp. Wallace, who scored his most important, indeed his last goal for United on this ground as a substitute in the first FA Cup semi-final against Oldham. Back from injury. Redmond under pressure. Wallace is in. Corner kick. Manchester United fans believe again. Got plenty to think about at the moment, Manchester City. Bruce is there with a header. It's in. Brian McClair's equalised. 2 goals in 3 minutes from Brian McClair. United are level. The Cheshire Cat's smile belongs to Brian McClair. It's shared by every Manchester United fan. They were 10 minutes away from defeat at 3-1 down. They're now thinking of victory. Bruce got the header, but no doubt who got the final touch. McClair on the line. His foot was high. Manchester United have a free kick. Once again, the 2 central defenders are on a sortie into enemy territory. Ince. Pallister! It's a heck of a save.
3-3, one of the best local derbies in years, ending with honours even. That unpleasant fracas in the game with Arsenal would eventually lead to 1 point being taken from United and 2 from Arsenal. Back in the Cups, Wrexham had already been beaten in the European Cup winners' second round at Old Trafford. The away leg finished off a 5-0 aggregate win and a place in the quarter-finals in March. The tie of the third round in the Rumbelows competition saw United at home to unbeaten Liverpool. 2 goals in 2 minutes in the first half shook the Merseysiders and ultimately ended their 20-game unbeaten run. Back in the league, memories of the 1990 FA Cup final.
Just 12 minutes gone and Manchester United take the lead. Lee Sharp, number 11, perseveres here. He's outnumbered and apparently hemmed in, but that's great skill from him. Now Wallace, and finally Neil Webb past Nigel Martin in the Palace goal. And 7 minutes later, United effectively wrapped up the match and skipper Neil Webb very much involved once again. There's Webb, number 7, with a brilliant ball for Danny Wallace, and Wallace skips in for the second. United then follow up that superb win in midweek against Liverpool, and they end Palace's unbeaten run. United pressed forward for much of the game, looking for that elusive winner. Lee Sharp set up the best chance, pulling the ball back from the left for Neil Webb. But Peter Shilton and the massed ranks of the Derby defence somehow managed to keep the ball out.
Paul Ince causing problems in the Sheffield box. He knocks it back to Mark Hughes. On to Neil Webb. And he squares the ball to leave Bruce with a simple finish. 5 minutes from the end, a fine through ball here from Neil Webb. Danny Wallace takes it to the byline, pulls it back, and Mark Hughes, brave again, makes it 2-0.
But they're going forward now with Townsend in possession. Wise. And it's sliced off Pallister for an own goal. Jury went in with Pallister, and Bobby Campbell doesn't really care whose shin it went off, because Chelsea had taken the lead. 15 minutes gone, and Manchester United rocked. It looked so innocuous. Now, did Jury get the touch, or did it come off Pallister? Either way.
Well, it looked to me as if it came off Pallister when he had a slice at it here. Perhaps this picture will show, yes. I don't think Jury got a touch, but he's claiming it.
Oh, nice play by Lasso. And not a bad ball either. Bruce just about cut it out as Dixon was threatening to run onto it. Here's Phelan straight away under pressure, and Townsend's done brilliantly for Chelsea here. He's going alone. Oh, what a marvellous goal! Andy Townsend scores a beauty! No smiles from Bobby Campbell, but inside he will be feeling as happy as these Chelsea supporters. 2 goals in less than 5 minutes for Chelsea. Andy Townsend's first league goal as a Chelsea player, and it could hardly have been more special. He had no support, he had to go all the way himself, and he did so superbly.
Well, you feel that United have to get a goal now, Alan, because they're putting Chelsea under quite a bit of pressure here. They need to get one. Let's see if they can.
Pallister climbing high again. Oh, and somehow Wallace got there, and the smallest man in the penalty area got the header that counted. And it's raining goals at Old Trafford now. 3 goals in the space of 8 minutes, and little Danny Wallace getting Manchester United back into the picture after the mighty figure of Pallister had caused the danger. What a good header though by Wallace. Great ball though from Ince to Wallace, and Hughes wants it played first time into the box. And Hughes gets the ball he wanted and equalises for Manchester United. Brilliant cross by Wallace.
There seemed an awful lot of room for me, Alan, down that left side of Chelsea's defence. Danny Wallace had all the time there was to control it, have a look. And we'll see, could Dave Besson have got it? Just eluded him.
20 points from 13 games, but under pressure here from young Stewart. Wilson, back it goes to Stewart. He run into Webb, and the referee has given a penalty. Webb can't believe it, and I'm not certain either. But anyway, the referee, Mr. Ashworth, was certain, and young Graham Stewart has earned Chelsea a lifeline with this penalty. Well, was he going across his path? Was that a deliberate foul by Webb? Chelsea are in front again. You can see the beads of perspiration even on a cold day on Bobby Campbell's face.
3 points dropped against Chelsea United, slipping into 7th place. The following Tuesday, Arsenal away in the Rumbelows League Cup.
Tremendous amount at stake for both these clubs, particularly for Manchester United. Their chances of a league championship slipping away. Blackmore's shot hits with great venom! Terrific shot! Oh, now for Hughes! Another one! But it's still with Manchester United and Lee Sharp under the right foot. It's another one! 3-0! Hughes finding Irwin. The cross is a good one! And it's a splendid goal there by Lee Sharp again! There's a lovely chance now for Sharp on a hat-trick. And he's got it! 5 for United. Wallace waiting in the middle. McClare's in there too. And it's another one, Wallace. It's 6.
Arsenal's worst home defeat since the war, and United's hat-trick hero Lee Sharp was named the Barclays Young Eagle of the Month for November, having only returned to the first team in mid-October. Sharp and United next went to Goodison Park.
That's Webb. Oh, how disappointing for him if he'd put Danny Wallace through straight away. And here comes Newell. Seeley's in difficulties, and a goal for Cottee. No. They called it a foul on the goalkeeper. And when you're down at the bottom, your luck is out. Mike Newell challenged for the ball in my mind. And I think that's a sympathetic decision towards Les Seeley. Newell going clearly for the ball. And Seeley didn't get to it. Cottee, that's how he's earned his reputation, by snapping up chances like that. Hughes has got it down, he's turned, and this is Lee Sharp. He's done it again for Manchester United. And the dance of delight is well practiced this week. A hat-trick at Highbury and a goal now at Goodison Park against the run of play, it must be said. Mark Hughes, the architect. And Sharp kept the shot low. They were desperately trying to prevent Hughes, and Sharp threaded it in despite Addervale coming back and trying to guard that post.
United expected Brian Robson back after injury for the visit of Leeds, but it's his deputy in the number 7 shirt, Lee Sharp, who's having a great spell at the moment. Sharp's cross falls nicely for Neil Webb. Big deflection of McAllister, but Webb will claim the goal. Not much time, though, for the United fans to celebrate. Leeds strike back 5 minutes later. Mel Sterland from 25 yards. 1-1. Then the side Old Trafford had waited for. Brian Robson's return to league football after an absence of 7 months, and Robson soon involved with a typical piece of opportunism. Brian Robson's back, and that's great news for England and Manchester United. Well, Brian Robson played all 90 minutes in the England B match against Algeria. He began on the bench against Coventry. In contrast, Neil Webb failed to finish the Algeria game. Webb, only the 12th player ever to be sent off in an England shirt. He was back on the pitch, though, to face the Sky Blues. And Webb played his part in putting United ahead with a lovely through ball for Mark Hughes with only 5 minutes gone, and a smart piece of finishing from the Welsh international. Coventry haven't won a league match under new manager Terry Butcher, their last win against Sheffield United 7 games ago, and look to be heading for another defeat until Drinkle and Ginn open the way for Kevin Gallagher late in the first half. Well, Coventry are living rather dangerously at the moment. They've only won 3 league matches all season. It's 3 months since they scored twice in the First Division. But they manage a sustained spell of pressure just short of the hour. And there's a fine piece of work by David Smith. Such a good player down the left flank for the Sky Blues. His cross is deflected and Cyril Regis in the right place at the right time. But Brian Robson, Captain Marvel, on his way to the rescue. He joins the fray 20 minutes from time and puts his ball-winning skills to immediate use. There's Robson in there. And the end product of this move is an equaliser for United. Again, Neil Webb very much involved. And Danny Wallace, who's having such a good season, touches it home. 2-2 at Highfield Road. Wimbledon, with 4 wins and a draw from the last 5 games, are really enjoying a purple patch. And no one more so than John Fashanu. Fashanu gets his name on the score sheet, 21 minutes gone. It stayed that way till the 69th minute, and it's Brian Robson who makes the breakthrough. Robson in the United starting lineup for the first time since the FA Cup final replay. He's brought down by Fashanu. A definite penalty. And it's left to Steve Bruce to squeeze the ball past Seegers in the Wimbledon goal. United have never won at Plough Lane. Mark Hughes looking to change that. 10 minutes to go now. Super turn and a quality finish from the Welsh international. And United make sure of the result when Hughes takes a pass from Robson. He's been upended there by the Wimbledon skipper, Keith Curle. Curle gets the red card for that, just 2 minutes to go, and Bruce beats Seegers from the spot for the second time in half an hour.
Alex Ferguson claims that United are at last becoming the team he's been looking for. And against Norwich, it was the striking partnership of Brian McClair and Mark Hughes which did the damage. And Brian Robson's returning to fitness and form. He played a part in the second goal, McClair providing the finish. And the Scot was on target again in the final minute. Neil Webb split the Norwich defence with a clever through ball, and McClair did the rest. 3-0, and United putting an end to a string of 5 successive defeats by Norwich.
And Owen coming up on the right, he's got it in front of Ormond Roy, a penalty. A long leg of Ian Ormond Roy stretched out, and it brought Owen down. The responsibility really on the right back to get forward, and he took on that responsibility, and his reward is another penalty for Manchester United. They've been getting them regularly recently. Ormond Roy tackling from behind. Steve Bruce has taken on the penalty role this year. He has a 100% record. And he still has. So, 20 minutes to go to half-time. So far it's going according to the script for Manchester United. Ince through the centre, and he's holding off Platt. And Paul Ince has hit the post. Lee Sharp follows up. Great blocking by Mountfield. And Ince curses. He's still awaiting his first league goal in Manchester United red. He's approaching 50 First Division games for them. And he did very well here to make the run in the first place, and then had the strength to withstand Platt's challenge and get his shot in. The goalkeeper beaten, but not the post. In came Sharp, and Mountfield in the way. Still uproar around this famous stadium at the near miss by Paul Ince. Hughes, here's Robson, nothing to the right, offside. McClair, oh, he put it in brilliantly. Oh, he doesn't show any emotion, Brian McClair. Right. Ormond Roy to his left. Gascarino with the reinforcements arriving in the centre. Ormond Roy goes on. Oh, and it's an own goal. Gary Pallister. And Aston Villa, the team that can't score, have had one presented to them. McAllister. Ormondroyd, who conceded the penalty, certainly put United in a difficult position here by having a go at Irwin, and he got past him. It was an awkward cross to defend against. And Sharp has lost two of them with the turn. McClare on the left this time. Unmarked for a deep cross is Neil Webb. Here he is. Great ball from McClare. And it's stayed out off the bar. And McClare set it up with great vision and execution in the pass as well. Webb shot pushed onto the bar by Nigel Spink. Phelan, Pallister, done a lot of attacking. Hughes, oh, and it was a great shot, and the save was even better. Well, if Manchester United don't win this game, they will pay credit, I'm sure, to Spink. Look at that. Marvellous stop from Hughes. Good jump by Howells. What a good header.
And here's Stewart. Lineker's waiting in the middle for him. And did he cross the line?
Well, I have to say, I thought
he did.
I thought it was in.
But it was touch and go, and the linesman was standing right by the corner flag, and the referee has pointed to the corner. Stewart making the break, and it just clipped off the goalkeeper, and they say it didn't cross the line. Paul Allen now trying to rattle one in there.
He's given a penalty.
And he's given a penalty. Well, it must have been a foul on Allen.
I think it was for a handball. He's given it. He's indicating it was a handball. And I mean, the player only fell on top of the ball. It was a scramble.
Well, Spurs may have felt that they should have scored a moment before. Let's look at this. It's certainly hard to see there. And yes, the United player on the ground, presumably, Neil Webb. At any rate, it's Lineker. 11 goals this season, but only one from the penalty spot. And he missed against Chelsea from the spot, remember, a few weeks back. Lineker. 1-0 to Tottenham. It looked a harsh penalty decision, but Lineker certainly made the most of the opportunity. Ice cool nerve. 1-0. Hughes getting in. No, offside. Great strike by Hughes. He's venomous with those volleys.
But again, the Pallister header. And this is where I think United will score goals tonight. If you can find Pallister in there. He was offside, Hughes, just shaded offside, but what a lovely finish.
Naeem getting in quickly, but United keep possession. Webb spraying the long ball forward now, sensing possibly that Sharp might have the measure of Mitchell Thomas.
I think he has got the measure of him, Brian. He's very pacey, Sharp.
Blackmore playing it in. Hughes, was he pushed down? It's going to be a penalty by Vanden Hauwe. That looked a clearer penalty than the one at the other end. And it gives United now the chance of coming back to 1-1. 3 penalties in the last 2 games. Steve Bruce now with a chance of making it 1-1 and succeeds in doing so.
Yeah, he went goalkeepers left again. But they thoroughly deserve to be on level terms, United. They've hit the roadwork twice. They played some very good football. And I think it justifies that being 1-1. A well-taken penalty.
Oh, good play by Paul Stewart. Gascoigne away on the right. Played in quickly by him towards Lineker. And Spurs claiming there was a foul on Lineker as that ball went screeching across that 6-yard area. but the referee wanting none of it. And in fact, I think Gascoigne may have protested a little too loudly. There we are again. They claim there was a foul on Lineker. Didn't look it to me. And Gascoigne for dissent will get a red card. He must have said something to the referee there that required an instant red card. Paul Gascoigne sent off.
Well, that is amazing, really. Obviously, as you say, he must have said something, called the referee something that he thought, well, I'm not having you on the field saying things like that. It must be.
Martin. Webb. Can he open the door? Bruce. Already scored from the penalty spot. Not there towards Hughes.
Might come from Leclerc. United have snatched it. With 5 seconds into injury time gone, Leclerc gets a smacker from Paul Ince as the ball fell so invitingly for him. Hughes battling away, and suddenly there it is for Leclerc, and really Torsfield had no chance at all with that. And United now just have to keep their cool for a few more seconds to pick up 3 excellent points here in this First Division game at White Hart Lane.
So a great improvement in league form and position. 4 wins and 3 draws in a 7-game run, lifting United to 5th in the table. And that unbeaten run led to Alec Ferguson being named Barclays Manager of the Month for December. A good month all round, with the return to action of captain Brian Robson. With Clayton Blackmore such a success at left-back, defender Colin Gibson was allowed to leave for Leicester City in a £120,000 move in late December. Then in January, Viv Anderson was granted a free transfer to Sheffield Wednesday after 3.5 seasons with the club, the departure of a real character. The opening game in the FA Cup saw United lose their way a little after Danny Maddox's equaliser for Queen's Park Rangers before Brian McClare sent them through. Back to the league and a visit from Sunderland.
Manchester United firing on all cylinders from the start. Webb's corner, Pallister's flick, Mark Hughes with the overhead kick. That's one after only 8 minutes. United really taking Sunderland apart, go 2 up after a quarter of an hour. Lee Sharp, still only 19 years old, too fast, too clever for the visitors all afternoon. Brian McClare, the scorer. United wrap it all up before the interval. Welsh international Hughes involved at the beginning and at the end of this move. This season, United have proved that on their day, they're a match for anyone, and this is very much their day. Hughes covers half the pitch to pop up and collect his 13th goal of the season in all competitions. Alex Ferguson's side have now lost just once in their last 18 games. Queen's Park Rangers had lost their last 3 games, so must have been grateful to striker Mark Falco when he volleyed them ahead against Manchester United. A lot of responsibility on Falco's shoulders, with top scorer Roy Wegerle out for 6 weeks. Into the second half, and Rangers check keeper Jan Stejskal pulled off one of the saves of the season when he dived to his left to turn Mark Hughes' spectacular volley round the post. But it's in defence that Rangers have had their most serious problems. And 7 minutes from the end, they subsided once again when Stejskal went from hero to villain as he palms the ball to the feet of Mike Phelan, who coolly collects his first goal of the season. 1-1, but Rangers still in trouble at the foot of the table.
So 4 more points acquired from the last 2 games. United 5th, 12 points behind new league leaders. Arsenal, the first change in leadership for over 12 months. The 5th round of the Rumbelows League Cup saw United fortunate to get a draw at the Dell before a superb Mark Hughes hat-trick sank the Saints. Southampton had Jimmy Case harshly sent off. United unbeaten now in 19 cup ties. The FA Cup next, and Bolton caused plenty of problems before Hughes' 17th goal of the season put United through to the 5th round. Back to the league and the usual intensity of a Liverpool visit to Old Trafford.
Liverpool still making this early running here as Staunton plays it in again towards Whelan and Hussein, and again United get it away. McMahon, oh my goodness, off the top of the United crossbar. Well, that was a terrific shot by Steve McMahon, who made all the difference in the latter stages of that game against Brighton in the Cup. And there it is, catches it Mark Hughes style on the volley and just nicks off the top of the crossbar. And plenty of grey shirts in the back, particularly looking for Bruce and for Pallister. That looked like a handball by Hussein. Penalty given. Well, Hussein, I can't understand that. And the Liverpool players look totally nonplussed. Kenny Dalglish can't believe it either. That was amazing.
Well, sometimes when you jump like that and you miss the ball, your arm automatically flicks up. And that's what I think might have happened. I don't think he's actually gone to hit that, but the way he's jumped and the way he started to fall, his arm sort of hurled up and hit it, although it looked blatant. And he had no choice but to give a penalty.
Steve Bruce, 10 goals this season, 7 of them from the penalty spot. He's got it! United go into the lead with 26 minutes gone. Steve Bruce chalks up goal number 11. 8 of them from the spot. Deep one. Oh, great save by Grobbelaar from Robson. Terrific bit of goalkeeping there by Bruce Grobbelaar. But what a header by Robson too.
That's what Brian Robson's great at, attacking the ball in the box. He's fearless, and he just runs through players.
Here's Burrows. 1-0 to Manchester United. Robson. Oh, Barnes, lovely bit of play. Oh, lovely play by Barnes. Now, the little cross to finish it off. It's in there from Speedy. But no doubt who the architect of that was. That was magnificent play by John Barnes. What about that?
It's probably the first time we've seen him really involved in the game, and that was absolutely special. His first bit of footwork that we didn't quite catch, we'll get it here. The little turn there through the back of his own legs, and he just sold about 3 players a dummy. Came through on the outside, a great little cross that Les Sealey couldn't quite reach.
Just almost got to it, but couldn't quite.
Right.
And there's David Speedy in his first game for Liverpool, scoring the equalising goal.
1-1 then against the defending champions. And on the following weekend, the Rumbelows League Cup semi-final first leg saw 3 goals in 12 minutes, United holding the advantage. The second leg brought United the overall victory, Sharp's injury time winner, taking the Red Devils to Wembley. By then, United had suffered their first cup loss since November 1989 to bogey team Norwich City. Back to the league now and a visit to Sheffield United.
Just 2 days after that Rumbelows Cup triumph, United came down to earth with a resounding thud at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United took the lead 5 minutes into the second half when Brian Dean's superb header beat stand-in goalkeeper Gary Walsh, making his first appearance for more than 3 years. Less than 2 minutes later, the visitors won a penalty. Gary Pallister seemed sure to silence the Blades' biggest crowd of the season, but Chris Wilder handles his goal-bound header. United were without their regular penalty taker Steve Bruce, but Clayton Blackmore has proved an able deputy. Sheffield United may be next to bottom in the First Division, but they'd won their last 3 games, and 18 minutes before time, Bob Booker's flick on finds Carl Bradshaw. It's 4 in a row. The victory clearly meant more in Sheffield than defeat did in Manchester.
It's Hinchcliffe, beaten away, Mike Newell wraps it in. Hinchcliffe delivered it with power, and Newell had time to set himself to steer it in by the foot of the post. So the delivery comes from Nevin. Sealey goes with the fist, doesn't get there, and Watson rams in the second. Manchester United 0, Everton 2, and the scorer of the goal that knocked Liverpool out of the cup last Wednesday is having a very good week indeed. It was a problem from the moment Seeley didn't get the punch in. Sharp was jumping, but it dropped in the end for Dave Watson.
2 defeats then, and the league position suffers as the cup games keep on coming. In Europe, Montpellier came to Old Trafford. A goal in the first minute from Brian McClair set up the tie well for United, but Lee Martin's own goal let the French side back in, and they never looked like losing. Before the second leg, 3 away league games starting at Chelsea.
There was a real 5-goal thriller at Stamford Bridge. Manchester United, after their disappointing performance against Montpellier midweek, took the lead through Mark Hughes, his 18th of the season. It was Chelsea, though, who had the better of the first half, and that dominance was finally rewarded on the stroke of half-time. It was a fine individual effort from their former Scottish international Gordon Jury to make it 1-1. The United defence allowing Jury a clear run at goal, and the striker making the most of their generosity. And 7 minutes after the interval, it was 2-1 to Chelsea. Another solo effort outwitting the United defence. Tony Dorigo, the fullback, finding himself clear out on the left and ending his run with a shot that crept in between Seeley and the near post. That was only Dorigo's second goal of the season. Seeley won't be too happy to see it again. 10 minutes later, it was all square once more. Gary Pallister heading on from the corner and Brian McClair nodding it in from close range. That was his second goal in 4 days. Remember, he'd been on target after 50 seconds against Montpellier. The winner came 5 minutes from the end, and it was Chelsea who got it. Ken Moncal rising above the United defence for his first goal of the season.
Neil Ruddock's robust challenge on Les Seeley gave them the lead after 14 minutes. But in the second half, the Saints' defensive problems were exposed by a far from potent striking force. Paul Ince's goal was his first in the league for United, and it meant Southampton are the only team in the First Division to concede 50 goals this season. United were looking for a convincing performance prior to the second leg of their Cup Winners' Cup tie against Montpellier on Tuesday. They got a great start. Brian Robson's defence-splitting ball finds Clayton Blackmore, and the Welsh international filling in for the injured Brian McClair, coolly slotting it home. Forest, perhaps with their minds on their FA Cup semi-final, hit back just after the break. A short corner eventually finds its way out to Terry Wilson, and he sends in a screaming half-volley past Les Seeley.
League form not the main priority, but the European campaign going well, with a highly successful trip to France, goals either side of half-time, sending United into the semi-finals. Planning for the future, United make their only purchase of the season, buying midfield player Andrei Konchelskis from the Soviet Union. Before the Cups continue, time to improve on league form, starting at home to Luton Town.
Gary Pallister does well, and Steve Bruce forces home his 13th of the season. A bizarre equaliser for Luton, though, on 34 minutes. They've never won at Old Trafford. Just watch this effort from David Preece. And watch the bounce in front of poor Les Seeley. 3 minutes in the second half, United back in front, and it's Bruce once again, number 14 of the season for him. 20 minutes from time, again Lee Sharp the provider. Mark Robins' effort parried by Chamberlain. It's in before Hughes arrives. United's fourth now, and it's a superb build-up as well, involving Phelan and Robson and Robins towards Hughes. He's bundled off the ball. McClair keeps running. United 4, Luton 1.
Individual awards were now coming United's way as the PFA voted Mark Hughes their Player of the Year for the second time in his career. Hughes helped no doubt by the emergence of Lee Sharp, and Sharp honoured as the Young Player of the Year, And at the age of 19, he also won his first England cap. Both were in the team against Norwich City.
Manchester United trying to put behind them an unhappy sequence of results on this ground, an unhappy sequence of failure.
Oh, and they've got a great goal from their former Norwich City player, Steve Bruce. And would you believe that's his 15th of the season? A sprinkling of penalties amongst them, but he's such a danger at set pieces as well. And this is the perfect way to come back. A player who's returned with Manchester United too often for his liking as a loser. But Bruce here powers Manchester United into the lead.
Bruce. Phillips trying to get to Sharp before the ball arrived, unsuccessfully. Webb. Ince. He'll get it again. It's within shooting range. It's found the bottom corner. It took Paul Ince a long time to score a league goal for Manchester United. They're coming with more regularity now. And Manchester United taking advantage really of Norwich City's slowness in closing Ince down. Manchester United still leading here by 2-0. They've been in that position since 29 minutes into the first half, and we're now 29 minutes into the second half. And Manchester United have a penalty. Hughes pushed by Polston. This is how it happened. Polston on Hughes. Norwich feel that Hughes made a meal of that. The referee is surrounded. And up steps Steve Bruce again. Another penalty for Steve Bruce. He's scored 9 out of 10 this season. He got his second goal of the game. Oh yes, absolutely no nonsense about that. It's turning out to be something of a benefit afternoon for Bruce.
Trafford, the United boss Alex Ferguson must have had mixed feelings when Andy Clark put Wimbledon ahead after 28 minutes. Clark almost went to United from non-league Barnet. Looks happy enough in the blue of Wimbledon though. United come good after the interval. Their equaliser from Steve Bruce. What a season he's been having. That's his 17th. And United get a late winner. It's their best move of the match as well. Irwin for Robbins. For Brian McClair. 2-1 United. United thoughts may well have been in Poland already. Tony Cascarino putting Villa in front 11 minutes after half-time. But just after the hour, United get the equaliser they deserve. Good work between McClair and Irwin. Low cross from Irwin into the path of Lee Sharp. The England new boy does the rest. The point shared at Villa Park.
3 wins out of 4 and 5th place in the table, but concentration on the cup competitions with the league title out of reach. The European Cup Winners' Cup semi-final first leg at Legia Warsaw virtually assured United of a place in the final. Although they went behind, Legia's goal was their only chance of the match, and McClair, Hughes and Bruce sealed a magnificent win in the Polish capital. One league game before the Rumbelows final, it was at home to Derby County.
At the other end of the table, Derby went to Old Trafford, and they don't look like coming back there in the league next season. Clayton Blackmore and the Welshman give stand-in keeper Martin Taylor no chance. Derby, with their 2 big stars, Mark Wright and Dean Saunders, like the club itself, up for sale, refuse to give in, and 10 minutes later they get an equaliser. There's a good ball in from Gary Micklewhite for Paul Williams. And the United reserve keeper, the Australian Mark Bosnich, is beaten by the deflection off Bruce. Williams, though, claims the goal. United make it 2-1 on 67 minutes. A good advantage played by the referee. Robson for Brian McClair, and the Scot does the rest. 5 minutes from time, United make absolutely sure. Good work from Danny Wallace. His first shot is blocked, and this time he produces a far post cross, and Brian Robson in with a typical header. It's his first of the season.
So to Wembley, but a disappointing Rumbelows League Cup final. John Sheridan's first half strike sinking the Red Devils' Cup hopes. We were unlucky to lose, but we didn't do enough to win, admitted Alec Ferguson. 3 days later, the disappointment of Wembley is overcome as United progress to the European Cup Winners' Cup final. A 1-1 draw on the night, 4-2 on aggregate. Before that gala night in Rotterdam, 3 more league games for United, starting with the local derby.
United and City meet in the 114th Manchester derby. The result decided by this single goal. Cross from McClair, and it goes in off the City defender, Colin Hendry. Well, 17-year-old Ryan Giggs, making his league debut, would love to claim that one for United, but it's got to go down as an own goal against the City defender.
And Alan Smith, Adams powered that ball against a Manchester United player inside the box.
I just think the North Bank might have had something to do with that. That was a big cheer went up. It was one of those where he hit the ball very hard from a short space, and I always think they're a little harsh. I can't see how he intended it. It'd be interesting to see the replay. But
what's interesting also, Gary, is they've given it to Alan Smith instead of Lee Dixon, who normally takes the penalties. Alan Smith on a hat-trick on this night of celebration for Arsenal.
On the ball, he's knocked it away and then he's fell over his body, so that's probably evened it up anyway.
Well, Steve Bruce, let's have a look at him. 18 goals this season, Gary.
Yeah,
10 of them from the spot.
Mind you, it might just sort of go
3-1.
There's an early gift for Palace at Selhurst Park. A fumble by United keeper Gary Walsh, and a chance for Ian Wright, his 25th of the season after only 3 minutes. United perhaps with other things on their mind. They go to Rotterdam on Wednesday for the Cup Winners' Cup final against Barcelona, and they rested 6 regulars. No surprise when Palace go further ahead through John Solarco just before the hour. It's been an excellent season for Palace. They finished 3rd in the league, their best position ever, and they get number 3 with just under 20 minutes to go. Solarco is on target once again, and it's a superb effort from all of 20 yards.
And so to Rotterdam, and United have a night to remember. 2 Mark Hughes goals, the first helping Steve Bruce's header into the net, the second a powerful shot from an acute angle. And then United holding on, with Ronald Koeman scoring from a free kick and Clayton Blackmore clearing off the line from Michael Laudrup. In the end, United win it 2-1. The following Monday, before the final league game against Spurs, the European Cup Winners' Cup is shown to the Old Trafford faithful, along with the FA Cup, brought there by Tottenham. Now Lineker. Hendry getting into the centre. Here he is! Well, it was a nice link-up between Gary Lineker and his young striking helper tonight, John Hendry. And Hendry was saying, put it there. And in fact, Lineker couldn't quite put it where Hendry wanted it. Samways. It is a quite amazing night here in the way that the crowd has turned out to pay tribute to both sides, really, and they think they're going to see a penalty, and the referee, Watson, says no. And he was right on the spot. Well, earlier in the season, if this match had been played, I think there might have been a few United protests, but the game goes on with Ince. It's a goal! Deflected off Terry Fenwick. Poor Fenwick, who broke his leg here early last season, has had some more bad fortune, but Paul Ince will want to claim the goal because it will be his first for Manchester United at Old Trafford. Hendry. Here's Stewart. Well, Robson showing you've got to tackle the former Manchester City players even in a game like this. Good turn by Hendry. Now Samways getting the better of Pallister. If he slips it to Hendry now, it must be a goal, and he just delayed it too long, and Phelan got back. Well, Tottenham so close to an equaliser. Owen. McClare is free, and Torsfet watched it, and happily for him, it sailed wide of the goal. But there won't be too many prizes tonight for tight marking. Hendry. Samways. Now Lineker. Oh, there's a mistake by Robson, who's due to start his holiday tomorrow and might just have let his mind wander then. Hendry! What was John Hendry, who scored for Tottenham a couple of months ago at Norwich on his debut, shows the depth in the ranks at White Hart Lane with another fine goal here at Old Trafford. Lovely looping header. So a season of mixed league form, but of great cup success. Sadly, a disappointing display at Wembley in the Rumbelows League Cup final, but made up for by that historic night in Rotterdam, a victory that will be savoured for a very long time. So a successful European campaign, but all United fans will be hoping that next season, that elusive league title will make its way to Old Trafford.